Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy. It's Golden Falls, Golden What Ifs, whatever you want to call me. And yeah, we're back. This is a brand new Deku What If, but we're doing something pretty similar. I can't remember if I actually have done a remake of this, or a quote unquote remake, or redo, or like a reimagine, I would say. And it's very similar to your my What If Deku had an adaptation quirk. But we're going to do what if Deku had an evolution quirk. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed part 1, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below, all that good stuff. I don't want to waste much more of your time. And I want to get right into the what if. So let's get it. Izuku Midoriya is born into a world full of quirks or superpowers. These quirks and superpowers all vary. They vary from explosions that come out of your hands to even you becoming a washing machine. All of these things differ in the world of My Hero Academia and in this land of Japan. And it seems like Izuku, as a young kid, is excited to see what he can become and what he can truly be. Well, that's going to happen all at the age of 4 when he learns what his quirk is all about. He learns that his quirk has a lot to do with the biology and his DNA. It seems that everything within his body has a, high likelihood of changing. It seems like when he gets a scratch from a paper cut, that paper cut, if it tries to scratch him again or gets a little paper cut again, he'll have the durability to withstand it and the cut will not be so deep. Now, if that continues to happen, it will get to the point where Izuku can no longer be affected by a paper cut at all. And it might sound kind of odd because we're talking about paper cuts here, but that is something that is very important to think about when we are dealing with a world with various superpowers and superpowers that could be extremely powerful. And this is when Izuku realizes very quickly that his new quirk, that his power is beyond his own comprehension, because even while going through the years, from 5, 6, 7 to even 12 years old, Izuku can feel that his entire body is changing, literally changing massively, evolving borderline. Seemingly every time he does a push-up, every time he does a sit-up, every time he does a squat, he seems to get drastically more strong. The punch or the sit-ups, the push-ups and all these things become so easy to Izuku that by the age of about 12, he's able to do 1,000 push-ups and 1,000 sit-ups in, one sitting and not even break a sweat. That's how crazy just normal training regimen is for Izuku Midoriya. And he gets all of these normal training regimens throughout school, just being in PE. His absolute stamina, his way of running and all of this stuff, he just barely even gets tired. Izuku would even bring up to his mother that it might be a good idea for him to, learn martial arts or learn stuff like that because, his body seems to adjust to it so quickly and so rapidly that it might be a great idea. I mean, straight up, Izuku would be an absolute prodigy in this aspect, but at the same time, even if he isn't a perfect prodigy, he would get kind of evolved from it, learning from his mistakes. And when he goes into a beginner's martial arts class at the age of 12, he actually learns from his mistakes quite quickly. I mean, he doesn't know how to defend against a head kick a certain way. Well, he'll never be hit by that same kick ever again, evolving massively and being able to adapt to it massively as well and stop it in its tracks. And he continues to evolve. Punches don't hurt as much. Kicks don't hurt as much. Body shots, punches to the face, his nose. He had a broken nose the 3rd day that he was in martial arts class, learning karate this time around. And guess what? After time would go by, he would stop actually getting bloody noses at all. It didn't matter if someone would punch him right in the face, right on the nose. Nope, didn't matter at all. He wouldn't feel it at all. Wouldn't hurt him, and it wouldn't even break his nose. It wouldn't make his nose bleed. It wouldn't do anything. Izuku would continue training with martial arts teachers, would continue training in other ways as well, just regular, running and, right, sit-ups, push-ups, whatever you can possibly think of, maybe lifting weights a little bit, but he wasn't doing anything crazy, but he was evolving rapidly. And as the years would go by, he would be pretty impressive as a just physical person, as a person himself, like somebody who is a really good athlete to an extent. Izuku would be decently popular, nothing crazy. It's not like people would be like gushing over him all the time, but let's just say the females around would take notice of Izuku's kind of physique and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Izuku would be getting stronger, faster, have more stamina, every single thing. He gets better at it all, and he didn't really have any kind of intro into quirks in terms of getting hit with other quirks or being messed around with. The only one that he actually has some sort of introduction to is Bakugo's explosions. Now, it might sound cruel, but it is the reality that Bakugo, flat out hurts Izuku from time to time because he's a bully, shooting him with an explosion. And throughout the years, Izuku would take this type of brutal display from Bakugo. But guess what? Over the years, he would get more durable and more durable and more durable, to the point where the explosions barely even affected him, making his skin itself more durable, to the point where explosions or heat-based things that could lead to explosions or are similar to explosions don't affect him at all, which is pretty damn impressive. But of course, if you crank up the explosion to a very high degree, it won't be that simple. You can't just survive a massive explosion. It's not that easy. But in terms of a condensed explosion that is at a smaller scale, Izuku can definitely survive it. Now, this makes his explosive durability, or his explosive kind of resistance, a lot more than you could possibly think of. And on top of that, throughout his martial arts training, his punch and his resistance to getting hit by decently powerful opponents has risen quite a bit. And throughout this time, he continues to get stronger, get better, and get more durable throughout all of this training. But his strength itself as well continues to get stronger and more powerful. I mean, seriously, when you punch something over and over and over again, you'll eventually become strong enough to actually make it hurt. And Izuku and his quirk helps him do that drastically. But throughout all this training, throughout all of this kind of, understanding and him trying to figure it all out with his quirk, he hasn't gotten necessarily proper training with the quirk specifically. But he's still able to have massive benefits from his quirk, and he'll still be able to have a chance at getting into UA high school, in which his middle school kind of teacher would bring this up, saying that it seems that Bakugo is not the only one trying to get into UA, and that it seems like Izuku is actually one of those people, that he is actually trying to get into UA high school as well. Now, it seems that Izuku would kind of be berated by Bakugo a little bit, but of course Bakugo knows that he can't really do anything. He can't really and necessarily do anything to Izuku, can't hurt him for the most part. But of course, this is something that Bakugo still wants to get his, get off his chest. He's still shooting explosions at him and doing whatever, but nothing works, nothing's valid, and nothing's going to really hurt him to a large degree. And he basically tells Bakugo just to go away, stop messing with him. Seriously, he just wants to continue on with his studies, continue on with working hard and getting ready and getting prepared. And he knows that he's mad that he's trying to get into UA, but he's still going to get into UA. So there's no point in arguing, no point in getting mad, no point in fighting over it, because there's just no point in doing anything like that. In which Izuku tells him that they'll be seeing each other very soon, and he assumes that much. And he continues throughout this time to just prepare himself, getting ready for this 10-month training. And also, don't forget, learning and studying as well, because that's a big portion of things too. Which, by the way, Izuku is extremely smart because of this quirk as well. Now, with all that said, he does walk home through or underneath that bridge once again, and he runs into the sludge villain. The sludge villain who is terrified of All Might and terrified of getting caught, telling him that he needs his body. In which Izuku, well, he immediately is thinking that he cannot allow this villain to get a hold of him, because if he does, it might be all bad news, because if this villain gets the quirk that he has, the villain might be able to overcome all the weaknesses that he ever has. So Izuku goes sprinting away, and the sludge villain is actually shocked, thinking that, whoa, this kid is freaking fast. How is he so damn fast? And he tries to get a hold of Izuku, but he misses, unable to actually get a hold of him. And as they get to the end of the bridge, Izuku continues to dodge, weave, and get out of the way, getting to a more open area, jumping on something and climbing up so that he can avoid the sludge villain. And as he does, he hears this the manhole cover basically smash open once again. And Izuku slightly looks, but then moves his head quickly because a giant gust of air would come slamming through the tunnel, smashing into the sludge villain. Immediately, the sludge villain would be into pieces, small pieces, being destroyed and splattered all over the area. And he looks to see that there's only one person there. That one person is All Might. All Might has defeated the sludge villain in one singular punch, and he was the one chasing him down. And then he realizes, wait, the sludge villain did say something about All Might, saying that he couldn't get away from that person. But he didn't know he was talking about All Might. Like, that's insane that the sludge villain was getting chased by him. That's the #1 hero. That's the strongest hero to ever exist. In which that makes him kind of snap back into reality, and he starts asking All Might for, for his autograph and this and that. And he's, oh, I'm such a big fan, blah, 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 all that stuff, And he's excited. I mean, oh my goodness, this is All Might himself. This is the one and only. This right here is the #1 hero. And he's just excited to ask him a bunch of questions, in which he does. He asks him a ton of questions about being a hero, about what he should do to be a hero, about how he could be a hero, and All Might asks about his quirk, in which he telling him that he actually evolves from different experiences, from getting, burned by hot water or maybe steam, to even getting, like a stubbed toe. He's like, I genuinely have not stubbed my toe, or if I did, I haven't felt it in the last 4 years. In which he thinks this is kind of insane. He asks him, so you're meaning to tell me that if someone punches you enough, you'll eventually get to the point that you're so resistant you won't even feel it? And which Izuku nods his head, saying that that's the truth. And he says that, well, if someone like him punched him, it would be a different story. Trying to overcome someone that powerful isn't that easy, and you would need a lot of display of that power, at least to an extent. He hasn't really seen his quirk be, reached and bounded to that degree, but you never know. His power might be legit limitless. In which All Might thinks about it like, whoa, maybe his quirk is that powerful. I mean, that's pretty damn awesome. And he tells the kid that he's excited to see what he's able and capable of, and he's excited to see what he can do at UA High School. And he assumes that that's where he's trying to get into. In which Izuku says, yeah, that's 100% what he's trying to do. And he's excited to try to get in. In which All Might nods his head, saying that it will be really awesome to see him get as far as possible, but he'll have to go now. He thanks the kid for his help, especially with cleaning up the sludge villain, and All Might takes off. And this time around, Izuku doesn't grab onto his leg like an idiot, so he just watches All Might jump away, and he thinks that he really had a pleasure with basically being able to talk to the one and only All Might. Like, that was freaking insane. But after all that is said and done, Izuku has a lot of training to do, a lot of stuff to kind of incur, and a lot of things to learn. So over the next 10 months, he continues with his normal training regimen of lifting weights, running, basic stamina training, stuff like that, trying to get just genuinely faster. Like, he's gone to the point where he doesn't just do normal running. He straight up will do sprints as far as possible in stuff that would make it extremely hard to run in, from sand and stuff like that. Anything to slow him down. I mean, he's even tried to run on ice, which he believes that running on ice and getting kind of more stable with that, making it so that he has more friction when he kind of runs on ice and stuff like that, so he can just run on it. That's something he's been trying to work with. Shoot, even in the back half of the training, he actually starts training in swimming, and he starts doing different things like that, like jumping higher. He tries anything that's like an Olympic sport that would help him in the long run to be a hero. That's genuinely what he's trying to do and what he's trying to get into, because he believes that if he's like an excellent swimmer, like borderline like a fish, I mean, it might be helpful if there's water around. Imagine if he can, run on ice. Imagine he has to run across ice. He can slide across it with ease without even worrying about falling or doing this or doing that. So he believes that all of these things would be beneficial for him, and there might be even more for him to learn in the long run. But of course, he doesn't know everything, not just yet, but he's tried a lot of different things. And he'll continue to try them even once he gets into UA High School, which that right there is a guarantee. And Izuku wants to make sure he gets in there, which he will. At least that's what he thinks. Now, with that said, Izuku is ready to go into the UA entrance exam, and that's where we're about to go into. The UA entrance exam is going to compile itself of a written and a practical portion, and Izuku is prepared for both of them. But before he even goes in, he would actually trip and fall. Something kind of funny, because he wasn't this big of a klutz and he's not used to like the area around here, so he was actually able to trip and fall. But someone behind him would actually catch him not with her hands, but well, sort of with a quirk, being able to levitate him at least slightly and save him from splattering right on his face. In which Izuku thanks and says that it's awesome that she was able to do that and blah blah blah, and she apologized for not asking first. But Izuku understands. I mean, at the end of the day, you legitimately couldn't ask unless you wanted to see me get smacked on the face. In which she shrugs her shoulders and says that is true. In which he says that he hopes to see her again and they'll chat very soon. In which he doesn't even pick up her name, just leaving before anything else is said. Izuku would head in, and he would see that he has to sit right next to Katsuki Bakugo, and he would tell Bakugo that he assumed as much, that they would be sitting next to each other, and they would be eventually seeing each other's faces once again. As much as he hates his own face, or he hates Izuku's face, it doesn't mean that they can't at least get along for the moment. And of course, Bakugo just ignores him, thinking that he's annoying, and Izuku shrugs his shoulders, awaiting the first thing to do, which would be the written portion of the test. And the written portion of the test was a breeze for Izuku. We're talking, he scored almost a practical perfect score on the written portion of the exam, but the practical portion of the exam is going to be a little bit different, because the practical is about destroying robots. 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers, all the above, and he's gonna have to figure out how to destroy them. And that's exactly what he's gonna try to do. With the gates not opening just yet, and with the timer counting down, and as President Mike swings open the doors and tells everybody to run, saying that on a battlefield there is no countdown, he would run out and he would try his best to actually destroy robots. Now, in terms of destroying them, it is pretty damn difficult. It's nothing easy. These robots are solid metal, and some are weaker than others, but it's no easy way of destroying them. In terms of his strength, in terms of punching power, I mean, he's able to destroy a 3-point robot, but it takes a little bit of work. It's not just a one punch, boom, and it's destroyed. No. He has to actually, punch it some and then pick it up and slam it, whatever you gotta do, stuff like that, in which this does slow him down quite a bit. But he's able to, for the most part, get a decent amount of these robots, destroying one after another. But as it seems that there aren't that many left, he's kind of worried, thinking that there's a good chance that he didn't get to the point where he wanted to, and he's not going to be able to get into UA. And he thinks to himself that that's horrible. Like, if he can't get into UA, he's gonna feel like a freaking failure. But seriously, it just was such an awkward thing, or an awkward practical exam. I mean, this exam, it definitely is better suited for those who have more powerful quirks in terms of, like, you know, raw power, like explosions, like fire, like being able to speed through each robot or whatever you can think of like that. Maybe even pick them up with a gravity quirk and slam them down. A lot of those things are a lot easier than just raw power in terms of, you know, raw actual physical strength. And Izuku realizes that he needs to get even stronger, that if he can't just punch through metal, that he needs to prepare himself to do just that. In which, with the timer running down, with the 0-point robot actually showing up, Izuku realizes that it must be basically the end of the exam. As he's running away, he looks and sees a girl screaming and asking for help, saying that she really needs help, and the teachers who are watching are trying to decide if they should shut the 0-point robot down, because the 0-point robot might just hurt her and might just step on her and kill her. In which, out of nowhere, Izuku would come running in, immediately picking up all of the heavy, like, rubble over her. Literally, the rubble that is probably hundreds of pounds, picking it up and throwing it off of her and throwing it out of the way, picking her up and running as fast as possible. And as people watch him run, they're like, damn, for just a normal person, because that's what he is, he doesn't have anything crazy for a quirk, he's pretty damn fast. Like, with someone, or with him picking up somebody, it seems like he's not even running any slower, like, at all. He's still running at almost tip-top speed, which is pretty damn impressive. Everyone watches this as he actually saves this girl, and after it was all said and done, the speakers come on, and the UA entrance exam is decided to be over, in which Izuku thinks that he didn't get in, that he thinks he didn't destroy enough robots, that he didn't do well enough. But he'd be very, very ecstatic when, after weeks would go by, and he would get a letter, and it would say that he got into Class 1A in UA High School. He's, don't get me wrong, not like the first place person or anything. He got extra points from rescue. He got a perfect score borderline on the written, but that puts him kind of in the echelon of, like, the top 8 to top 10. That's where he currently is. He just really didn't have that many points, and the rescue portion of the points, he didn't get that many points out of that either. I mean, all he really did was push off rubble and save her and run her away. It wasn't some spectacular display of power that led to her actually being saved. So he didn't get the full point, like, he didn't get some insane amount of points out of that. Still, he was able to get a decent amount, plus the written portion, how good he did there. He probably would have gotten in just barely, even without that rescue. But now this puts him in more of the top 8 range, putting him at a higher echelon of what these students are. Now, with all that said, the first day of UA is soon to come, and he's excited to see what is going to happen. And when he walks up to those doors and he sees how big the door is and how wide the door is, he thinks to himself that there must be some very interesting people in this class. Some big, some tall, some small, and some with a lot of unique quirks. And he's excited, so excited to see what they all can do. He walks in, and the first person he lays his eyes on is Katsuki frickin' Bakugo. Of course he got in, and guess what? The kid is the #1 student, and he doesn't even know it yet. Or at least Deku doesn't even know it yet. In which, after some time of talking and doing, some delinquent things, at least according to Aizawa, eventually Aizawa would enter, telling them all to shut their mouths, telling them that they are not going to this orientation, and that they are going to do a little bit of training. And that training is a quirk assessment. He wants to see what they're all capable of, see what they can do. In which they would all head out, and they would all basically start this training to see what they're all capable of. And of course, to start off with, we had something basic. We had a simple ball throw, and that is with the #1 student, Katsuki Bakugo. And in all honesty, everybody already knows what's coming, and it's a very, very, very far throw. Now, this immediately would start with the obviously arrogant remarks from Bakugo, leading to everyone thinking this is going to be so fun and so swell and whatever. But of course, Aizawa would shut it all down, because Aizawa would tell them all that this is serious, and that if they don't take it seriously enough, they might just all get cut by the end of the day, being expelled and their hero journeys down the drain. And he tells them that actually they're going to do a little something here. They're going to make it so that if whoever's the last person, or whoever finishes or is last in terms of quality of Quirk assessment, will be expelled. In which this is when everyone starts getting real serious and realizes that this is really important. And Izuku, well, he does his damn best, and it starts with the ball throw. Throwing the ball as far as he can, he throws it pretty damn crazy. I mean, it's borderline the same as someone that would throw, like, if you're like a professional pitcher. Like, that's how strong Izuku is possibly at this point, and he's played certain sports, so pitching the ball or as far as possible isn't anything too crazy, but it doesn't go like some insane amount like some super power throw. Now, with that said though, it is pretty impressive, and all of his scores become pretty damn impressive as well. How fast can he run? He runs pretty fast. How much grip strength, how fast can he do side steps, all of these things. He's really good at almost every single thing, if not every single thing, which allows him to excel all over all kind of across the board, and leading him to actually getting number 1 in this assessment, which kind of impresses Aizawa. Aizawa thinks like, this kid, I mean, he's pretty damn impressive, even though he has a quirk that basically has to be evolved over time. You know, a quirk that has to continuously get stronger and stronger and stronger. Seeing that he's already pretty damn high up there is pretty freaking wild. And Aizawa even says this, and says that it seems like the number 1 student really isn't all that he acts up to be, and it seems like someone who actually was supposed to be maybe a top 8 student is better than him at this, which this would piss off Bakugo, making him absolutely enraged, so much so that he goes to try and shoot an explosion at Izuku. But guess what? Before it can even happen, his quirk is cancelled, and he is grabbed by Aizawa and slammed to the ground. Aizawa tells him to not do a single thing ever again. Do not ever attack a student, or else he'll be gone forever. And his hero's kind of journey, his wants and desires to be a hero will go down the drain quicker than he could possibly imagine. In which this is obviously a massive threat to Bakugo, and Bakugo shuts his mouth, and, you know, he definitely just goes along with the rest of the day without, you know, making too much trouble. But of course, he still is talking all of this arrogant smack to Izuku, leading to them actually and eventually going on to the next training session, which is with All Might himself. Everybody is shocked to see him. Excuse me, everyone is shocked and clamoring. I mean, this is All Might. This is insane. How is All Might one of the teachers, in which this is exciting work, and Izuku is excited to train with the one and only All Might, especially once he hears what they're going to be doing. That is Heroes versus Villains training, where we're going to have the heroes versus the villains, and the villains will protect the bomb. The heroes will try to touch the bomb within a 5-minute period. The teams are Katsuki Bakugo and Tenya Ida versus Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka. And this excites Izuku. He wants to show everyone that the quirk assessment was not a fluke, and that he is that much better than Katsuki Bakugo, even though Bakugo did get the leg up in the UA entrance exam. And before you know it, when the 5 minutes of preparation were over and Izuku and Ochako head inside, it is now time for the 1 versus 1 once again versus Bakugo and Izuku. And this is a crazy one, because immediately Bakugo shoots explosion after explosion, and Izuku just dodges. Dodging this, dodging that, making move after move, and then eventually Bakugo would let loose an explosion of an insane magnitude, exploding in a massive explosion all around the room, covering it all of smoke and kind of debris. But as the smoke is there, Izuku, well, he comes out of nowhere, walking straight through the smoke, and everyone is in shock. He's not even hurt. He grabs Bakugo by the wrist and he slams him on the ground and kicks him in the face and then punches him one last time to knock him out cold. Izuku looks at a camera and shrugs his shoulders as all the dust is wiped off of him, and as he brushes it all off, everyone realizes that this is the real deal, that Izuku Midoriya is no freaking joke. Izuku would walk back upstairs, eventually finding where the bomb is, and he would go head to head with Tenya with the help of Ochako. But even the speed that Tenya has, it's not enough to truly kind of balance out the scales with the two of them there. And in terms of fighting skills, Tenya's not even close to Izuku Midoriya, and he's able to defeat Tenya with one kind of sling over his shoulder, throwing him back toward the front door, or the door that they walked in at, and they would both walk over and touch the bomb, completing their mission and making it so that the hero team wins. Of course, everyone is in shock to see how well that was approached by Izuku, but nobody is more embarrassed than Katsuki Bakugo, thinking that he has so much more to do and so much higher to climb if he really wants to defeat Izuku Midoriya. But what's to come next is something that Izuku and the other classmates aren't ready for by any means. That is a date and a fight with the League of Villains. A fight between the League of Villains and UA students, including, Aizawa and them, at a rescue facility is not something they were prepared for and not something they were expecting, but it's bound to occur. But what's going to happen when the League of Villains invade the USJ? Well, you're going to have to find out in the next part of What If Deku Had an Evolution Quirk. And if you enjoyed, please show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.